So you've splashed out, broken the bank and purchased the DJI Mavic 3, and then your first flight ends up looking like this. Today I'm going to show you massive mistakes that new drone pilots make that result in you crashing your drone, or videos and photos that just look bad. By the time you've finished this video, you will be equipped with the knowledge to overcome these mistakes and have a successful first flight. Here are 15 massive mistakes to avoid whenever you're out flying the DJI Mavic 3 or any drone. I have grouped these 15 massive mistakes into 3 categories. 5 mistakes to avoid before you take off, 5 mistakes to avoid whenever you're flying, and 5 mistakes that will ruin your photos and videos. So the first mistake is not checking your firmware. Depending on how long your drone has been sitting in a box on a shelf in a storeroom, your firmware can actually be quite out of date. And so the first thing you're going to want to do before you start doing anything with your drone is to unbox it and update your firmware. Now you want to update your firmware because not only does firmware updates come with new features, for example with the DJI Mavic 3, active tracking is currently not possible in this drone, but will be brought in with a firmware update in January, so you get them additional features. But more importantly, firmware updates come with bug fixes and issue fixes. So by having the latest version of the firmware, you're going to have the safest and most capable version of your drone. And also, if your drone firmware is very out of date, firmware updates will sometimes actually lock your drone and not allow you to take off before you have that needed firmware update. And so the last thing you want is for you to go out into the field with your drone for the first time, go to take it off and realize you can't actually fly or take off your drone until you've done that firmware update. And depending where you are in the field, you might not actually have any decent connection to be able to do that firmware update, and that could result in you losing a day's flying. Internal storage full or memory card not inserted. There's nothing worse than going out for a day's flying, especially if you're traveling quite far away, and realizing you have no way of storing your photos or videos. With the DJI Mavic 3 bringing a move towards internal storage, or any drone that has internal storage, you want to make sure that you have that storage freed up before you go out flying. Because yes, when you're out in the field, you can delete photos and videos to clear up that internal storage, but you're doing that while sacrificing the clips that are on your drone. So you want to make sure that you have your photos and videos backed up or transferred from your drone to your computer or hard drive, so that when you go out into the field, if you need to delete photos and videos from internal storage, you can safely knowing that you have them backed up. But also I would recommend just making sure that that internal storage is freed up before you go out flying in the first place. And when it comes to making sure your memory card is inserted, I've done it, I know other people who have done it. They've went out, sometimes on a paid shoot, got ready to take the drone up, hit record and realized they didn't put a memory card in, and even worse, they don't have the memory card with them because they thought it was in the drone. It literally takes 5 seconds to check the memory card slot of your drone. So before I go flying, I always make sure that the memory card's inserted. I simply put it in the drone before I put the drone in the bag to go out flying. And that way I know I have a memory card in my drone ready to record photos and videos. Not inspecting your drone. Before you go flying and before you take off, you always want to inspect your drone for damage. Damage doesn't just have to happen in the air, it can actually happen from transporting your drone. Things like bent props from putting it the wrong way in the shoulder bag are actually quite a frequent occurrence. And so take 5 seconds, have a look over your drone and make sure that there's nothing visually wrong with it. Make sure you have no dirt in your motors, no grit around the camera. Simple things like that can go a long way to make sure you have a much safer flight. Because let's be honest, the last scenario you want to be in when you realize you have a broken or bent propeller is when you go to take a drone off and it's in the air, because that's when accidents are going to happen. Secondly, you want to check to make sure nothing is wrong with the drone in terms of something that is going to visually impair the photos or videos you're going to be taking. So you want to check the lens for any smudges, because you might not see the smudges on your phone screen when recording, but you'll certainly see them when you come back looking at the footage. And secondly, you want to make sure that the filter or the lens cap is screwed on correctly. If you've been changing filters, putting ND filters on and off, the last thing you want to do is have a slightly misaligned ND filter and have the edges of that filter in your frame. So just make sure that that's fitted securely and that it's on properly. Not checking if you can fly at a location. It's wrong to presume that just because you can access a location, that means you can fly your drone there. That is not the case. In fact, a lot of places and locations have bylaws in place that mean you're not allowed to fly your drone on their land. So it's always worth spending 5 minutes before you go out flying your drone. Make a quick list of the locations you plan to fly and do a little bit of research online to make sure that you are actually allowed to fly your drone there and that they haven't publicized anything on their website asking you not to fly your drone there. Not checking the UAV forecast. So most people before they go out flying will check the forecast. I think that's a pretty common practice to do, and of course it's something you should be doing, because just because it's a sunny day doesn't mean it's going to turn into a heavy rain shower within an hour, and you don't want heavy rain whenever your drone's in the air getting caught out. So yes, it's important to check the weather, but there are aspects of the weather that a lot of people sometimes look over very quickly, and the most important one is the wind speed. It's really hard to judge wind just by standing out in the open. What feels like a nice calm day might have high gusty winds at higher altitude. So how do we check this? I personally use the UAV forecast app, and this app will quickly tell you if it's good to fly or if the conditions are bad to fly. And you can actually adjust the limits for your own drone. So for the DJI Mavic 3, this guy is capable of wind speeds up to 12 meters per second. So I can put that in as my limit. And if the wind speed or gusts are over that, then it will tell me it's not good to fly. And if they're below that, then I'll know that it's a good, safe environment for me to be flying my drone. Flying with a low battery. It can be really tempting towards the end of an intensive day shooting to think, okay, I've got a little bit left in my battery. There's one shot I really want to get, and so I'm just going to do it. I know the battery's only got 20%, but I'm going to go and try and get that one last piece of footage. But if your battery is low, it's really not worth the risk. When your battery gets to a certain percentage before it starts to get critically low, you will get drone warnings to say that the drone wants to return to home. But it's possible to ignore these warnings. It's possible to cancel them warnings. And if you already know your battery is low and you're pushing the limits to try and get that final piece of video, chances are you are ignoring them warnings. But what will happen once your battery becomes critically low is your drone will start to land itself, and you cannot stop that happening. So you can end up in a situation where two bad things can happen. One, your drone can land far away from you in an area that's inaccessible, and that could present real problems with trying to recover your drone. Or worse, if you start to fly your drone back as it's descending, you could have an accident and you could crash into something. So it's really not worth it. If your drone battery is critically low, don't push the limits trying to get one final shot. Charge your battery up, come back another day, and don't push the limits, because that's when accidents happen. Not setting a home point. After a few seconds once you've taken off, you will usually hear an audible notification from your controller to say that the home point has been updated. And what this means is exactly what it says. If anything happens to your drone that it needs to return to home, the home point has been updated to where you took the drone off, and that's where the drone will come back to. So when you take off, always wait a few seconds to make sure you hear that audible cue or see the notification that says that your home point has been updated. The last thing you want to happen is your drone return to a home point that is nowhere near you. And to add to that, if you move around a lot, so if you're walking with your drone, if you're running and having your drone try to follow you, then what you want to do is, if you get far away from your original home point, go into the settings and always update that home point to a location closer to you. The last thing you want to happen is if you've ran a mile with your drone and you lose signal or connection and your drone starts to return to home, for the drone to return to that location a mile back the other way, and then you have to go chasing after your drone to try and get it. To prevent that happening, if you move a large enough distance away from your original home point, always go into the settings and update that home point. Not locking GPS. Whenever you set your drone down about to take it off, always make sure GPS has been enabled. This usually takes a few seconds to about half a minute in my experience. If you take off your drone and GPS is not locked, you will be flying your drone in ATI mode. Without the use of GPS automatic positioning systems, your drone will do a few undesirable things. Firstly, it will drift with the wind, it will not be able to hold a stable position, and it might actually change altitude, so it might ascend or descend by itself, and you will need to intervene. GPS is used to track and maintain a drone's location and make it much easier and safer for you to fly, and it's also used for the safety features such as return to home. You will find it much harder and less safe to fly a drone if the GPS hasn't been locked, and actually the drone imposes some restrictions on you to try to make it that little bit safer until GPS is locked. But to prevent any of these issues, simply give your drone about half a minute, depending on how many satellites it can pick up, to lock GPS before you go flying to have a much smoother and safer experience. Flying too low. The first issue with flying too low is quite simply, that's where most of the obstacles are. If you're flying high in the sky, there's very little in your way that can prevent you having a smooth and safe flight. But if you're flying lower, yes, you can get much more dramatic shots, but that's where it's going to become more complicated to fly your drone because you're going to be coming up against obstacles. So if I give you an example, if you're flying around a forest, if you're high in the sky, you're going to have no issues, but if you're down lower, you're going to be coming up against lots of trees, and you're going to need to be aware of how to fly around them trees or plan your route to have a safe flight. The second thing to be aware of when flying low is your drone will tilt much more than you think, especially when in sports mode. It will tilt forwards or backwards depending in the direction you're flying. And you want to be sure that you're not so close to the ground that when you use sport mode and fly forward, that your propellers actually clip the ground. This could lead to two things. Firstly, you could damage or chew up your props. If you're flying forward and clipping the dirt of the ground just at the ends of the propellers, this will cause damage to the propellers. But even worse, if you actually clip them propellers hard enough on the ground, you could flip your drone over and cause damage. So just be really careful when flying low with your drone. Not correctly adjusting settings. I recommend having grid lines on so you can frame your shots better. Overexposure zebras so you can easily see on small phone screens. Areas that are blown out or overexposed. The last thing you want is to come home after a day's flying and realize your skies are completely white and blown out. It can be hard to adjust exposure correctly on a small phone screen, so a visual aid like the overexposure zebras will allow you to quickly identify any overexposed areas. And lastly, make sure that your photos are set to JPEG and RAW so that you can really push the potential of the photo when you get it back to your computer in something like Lightroom and have all the information stored there in RAW in the image for you to use. Those are just a few quick settings I recommend adjusting before going flying. Using DLOG instead of normal. One of the first things I did when I got a drone capable of DLOG, like the DJI Mavic 3, is I went out on location and shot a bunch of footage in DLOG. But DLOG, although can give you much better dynamic range, requires a particular set of skills in post to really extract the most from it. And I'll be completely honest, I didn't have them skills, and what I ended up with was a bunch of shots that looked really desaturated, obviously because it's DLOG, but also muddy, kind of blurry, and just really not usable. And I was really disappointed with the results. I couldn't get the footage to look how I want it in post. I personally find the normal color profiles much easier to work with, and if you're a beginner, that's what I absolutely would stick with. And with the DJI Mavic 3, you have the Hasselblad natural color solution, which I thought was market in speech, but actually the colors you get from normal mode with the DJI Mavic 3 are absolutely spectacular. And I personally haven't been using DLOG with the DJI Mavic 3 because the colors and footage you get with that normal profile are absolutely amazing from that drone. So I would recommend, if you're a beginner, to stick with the normal color profile. You will not be disappointed. Or at the very least, don't make the mistakes I made as a beginner and just film everything in one profile like DLOG, split the difference, film some of your shots in normal and some of your shots in DLOG, and then at least you won't be disappointed at the end of the day. Using an ND filter. Now, I am a massive advocate of using ND filters to get motion blur, but you do not need to have an ND filter attached every single time you take off. You can end up with situations where you're at a location, you fly your drone up in the air, you fly it ready to take the shot, but you can't actually get your manual video settings to the right shutter speed you want, to the right aperture you want, the right ISO you want, because the ND filter you have on is too dark and it's preventing you from getting them settings right. In most high up shots, you're so far away and you're moving so slowly that you're not going to see any noticeable motion blur. So for them shots, it makes sense just to leave the ND filter off to have much more flexibility with the manual video settings. Now, ND filters do have their place. If your drone is moving really quickly or really close to the ground, or you're videoing a subject which is moving, such as a car, then ND filters will make a night and day difference to your footage. The difference between footage with no ND filter and with an ND filter on. The difference is unbelievable, and you'll want to use an ND filter in them scenarios. But for most other scenarios where you're high in the sky, you're much better leaving an ND filter off. Not checking video settings. The DJI Mavic 3 has an incredible range of video settings you can use. 5.1K 30fps, 4K video or 4K at 120fps. The options this drone gives you are incredible. But you want to make sure that before you take every single shot that you have the video settings you want. I've ended up in a scenario when I've been testing this guy out and really enjoying the slow motion that I actually left it by accident in 4K 120fps and filmed a day's worth of shots that I just wanted to be in 5.1K 30fps. I actually filmed them in that slow motion 4K 120fps because I didn't check the mode it was in, and I had to go back out and film them all again. So before you hit that record button, just make sure them video settings are exactly the settings you want. Not getting a variety of shots. If you go out and video the same shot type over and over again, your videos, I hate to say it, will become kind of boring. And it doesn't matter if you're changing locations, if you're just getting the same top-down shot in every single location, your viewers will find the video a little bit draggy and a little bit boring. With a drone, you have so many movement types at your disposal. Orbit, top-down, dolly pan, reveal, I can go on. If you don't know that many drone moves, I actually have a video, why do you not check it out here, that goes over some of the drone moves you can do with your drone. Or just have a quick Google and look up all the different types of moves that people are capable of doing. And then go out and just have fun, experiment with different movements. And what you can do is, instead of having to get the mindset of, okay, I need to go to lots of different locations to get a variety of shots, you can actually make one location look drastically different depending on your different shot types, and you can actually make an entire video based on one location and getting creative with your drone maneuvers. Shot not in focus. One of the biggest mistakes I made the first time I used a drone, which you could adjust the focus on, was go out and film an entire day's videos in lots of different locations. I couldn't wait to come home and view the footage, and then I realised they were all blurry and out of focus, and I was really disappointed. With the DJI Mavic 3, you can tap focus, so you can tap on an item on the screen and the drone will focus to that. But I've actually found just leaving it in autofocus is the best, and to do that, simply press your finger on the autofocus button and slide it up until it's in the AF mode, and then your drone should always be focused on whatever you're taking a video of. The only other focus mode I'll use usually is manual infinity focus, and you can do that by holding your finger on the button and sliding it up to the hills or landscape icon, and that will enable the infinity focus and usually make sure everything in your image is sharp. It can be really hard to check focus on a small screen, so here's a top tip. You can use focus peaking. If you go into settings and change this to normal, what it will do is when you're using a manual focus mode, it will put red lines around everything that is in focus, and you can easily see, even on a small screen, what is sharp and what is not, to make sure that all your shots when you get back are crystal clear, crystal sharp, and all look amazing. Now before you go, do you want to know why my DJI Mavic 3 won't be replacing my DJI Mini 2? Then click up here. The video goes over a few ways in which the DJI Mini 2 actually beats the DJI Mavic 3. I'll see you over at that video.